So today we're going to be exploring different states of matter and physical changes. We're specifically going to be looking at ice and salt. So we have some of our materials here. We're going to be using a tablespoon, salt, and food coloring, and then we'll go walk over to the ice in a second. So first, I want to ask a couple of questions to the class. Has anyone ever been to the snow or had to drive in the snow? Mateo?
No.
You haven't? Have you ever seen the snow?
Yes.
And
it's cold.
It was cold. Okay, do you know what happens to the snow when the weather starts to get warmer?
It melts.
Yeah, it melts. Good job. And then, so our ice, how does the ice feel?
It feels cold, and sometimes it hurts when it's really cold, when you put your bare hand in it.
Is it hard or soft?
Sometimes it's hard and soft.
Do you think it's like water? Is it like a liquid, or is it hard and solid?
I want to say both, because it used to be a liquid, then it hardened.
Very good answer. So Mateo touched on what we're going to be talking about today. So our ice is going to be in a solid state. And you kind of said this already, so do you know what snow is called, or ice is called when it's in the liquid state?
Water.
Water. Good job. Perfect. High five. Good job. So here's an example of each state of matter that water is in. Does anybody have any questions on what a liquid state or a physical or a solid state is?
No.
No? Do you have any questions about the experiment we're going to be doing?
No.
Okay. So we're going to go over to our lab and look at our ice blocks, and I will give you more information on our experiment. Okay, so here we have our ice blocks, and we're going to take them out and put them onto the tray. And they're already starting to melt a little bit. Okay, so here we have our two different ice blocks. One will be our control ice block, and the other one will be our ice block that we're going to be putting salt in. So what we're going to do is we have our tablespoon, and then each table group is going to pour 1 tablespoon on one of the blocks. So which block are we doing? Are we doing it on both blocks or just one?
Just one.
Okay, perfect. Choose that one. Good job. So do you need to put the ice on a certain area of the block? Can you put it on the side or the middle? What do you think would be best?
The middle.
The middle? Okay, that's a good answer. You can do it on the side, but we probably just get better results if you do it in the center, and then the salt will cause the ice to melt, or maybe not. We're going to be looking at the effects the salt has on the ice, and then at the end of the experiment we're going to see which ice block melted faster. Okay, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the experiment?
No.
Can someone repeat to me what exactly we will be doing?
Yes. We will be taking a spoon of salt and putting it in the middle of this one to see if it will melt and see if it won't.
And do you remember the 2 specific states of matter we're going to be looking at?
Salt and ice. Snow.
Super close. Those are the elements we're going to be looking at. But what states of matter? There's 3.
Solid and liquid.
Yes, good job. Those are the 2 we're going to be looking at. There's 3 in total. We won't be looking at gas today, but those are very good answers.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. And now we're going to wait about 5, 10, 15 minutes to see which ice block melts a little faster. And what do you see happening?
I see on the side like a little bit of it going in, and when I first put it, I could hear it a little like crack.
Wow.
It's cool.
And I know You really want to do what?
The food coloring.
And what do you want to do to the ice?
Touch it.
And do you think it's a good idea to touch the ice while this is happening?
No.
Why?
Because it was the heat from our hands.
Good job. Now that we have our experiment going, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with the food coloring at the end, since I've been getting a lot of questions about that. So you can use any color you want, depending on how many people are in your group. You guys can use more than one color. We have 4 colors here. Red, yellow, blue, green. Which one do you want to use?
Green.
Okay, so your table group can have that one. And what we're going to be doing with the food coloring is after the salt melts through or enough time has passed, we're going to remove the salt and then look at the patterns or tunnels the salt may have created. Thank you very much. And you're going to be decorating your ice block with the food coloring. And the food coloring might show some more patterns or tunnels that the ice created in your ice block.
Cool.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening?
The salt is melting into the center, and the salt is making little cracks around it, and the cracks lead to like where it's melting on the outside.
And then what do you notice in the other ice block?
Nothing.
So there are a couple of things I want to address before we continue. I am realizing that we probably could have used a little less than a tablespoon because there's a huge clump in the middle now that is going through. So if you wanted to do this in less time, let's say, or have a specific tunnel hole or multiple tunnel holes, we could probably put little bits of salt in the block. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now we are going to, for the sake of the lesson and time, we're going to try to dump out the salt.
Yes. Dump it out.
Okay, so after some discussion, we've decided that I'm going to try to scoop out a little bit of the salt so that we're able to use our watercolors afterwards and see the effects over time that the salt had on the ice. Well, it seems that the salt has clumped together, so it's not possible to just scoop it out, which is great. We're learning new things.
Would you like me to help?
Do you want to try?
Yes. I think I can do it.
The ice block is now moving really easily and not stuck because there's a puddle of water underneath it. Okay, so we use this experiment to show that temperature changes can cause a substance to change as well and transform from one state to another. And sometimes when you add a different substance, it can accelerate or make that change go faster, like the salt did with the ice. So can you explain to me some of the things you saw in your experiment?
I saw it. It used to be right here, and now it's all the way down there. And it like made like a little line to right here and like all over it. And it started like moving, and it's easier to like move because the puddle it made it because of the water.
Perfect. I noticed all of those things too. Did you enjoy doing this experiment?
Yes.
Good, I'm glad. So now we are going to use the watercolors to go ahead and
Look at all the tunnels it made.
yes, perfect. And then I just have a couple more questions. So would you say one ice block melts faster than the other? Which one do you think?
This one melted faster than the other.
And can you tell me why you think that one did?
Because of the salt, and it made it melt faster.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the correct answer, and the reason why the salt did that is because it lowers the freezing point of the ice. And so that's why it's melting a lot faster. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can you explain it to me a little bit?
And the salt, once you put it, it like makes it melt faster.
And that's because it's changing the temperature. So the salt is changing the temperature of the ice, so it's not at the freezing point that it was at anymore.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Can I pour it?
You can go ahead and start.
Cool. Looks cool. Pour it?
Now you can go ahead and see what happens to the other block.
Nothing. It just goes that way because it's narrow.
Because it's slanted.
Yeah. It just goes off.
At this point, students can choose to add more colors to the blocks and see what else they can do, but one color is fine as well. Okay, so now that we're all pretty much done with our ice blocks, can anyone tell me any obstacles that they ran into, or maybe some things that were hard during the experiment?
Getting the salt out because we thought we would be able and it would come off easy, but it clumped together when it was wet and it kind of like went solid, like it just went together.
And then any other difficulties that you had, not academic related, maybe certain things like wanting to lick the ice or touch it? Yes?
Yeah.
And then, so now we're all going to be going around each table group, and everyone is going to look at the other table's ice blocks and see how they turned out, and comment on the patterns, the tunnels that maybe have formed, how different they look.